I'm making this for a loved one. Sinners who perceive there to be sin in the world contribute the most to the sin in the world. They don't want to be here. They are only looking for the destination. They don't care about anyone else that's here. They just want themselves and their loved ones up in their happy place, and that's all they care about. So they don't care about making the world a better place. They look at the world as completely expendable and completely subject to their will. There's no mind put to preservation of things. It's all consume. It's all use it up, because when the world ends, we're not going to need it anyway, and when we go to heaven, we're not going to need it anyway, so who cares if it's not there for the only thing that would make them care would be preservation of future generations. But a lot of them don't even care about that, really. I mean, look at how families are treating each other. Literally, these people will energetically step on each other all the way to the finish line. And families, loved ones that they're treating like narcissists and just the worst, grossest things that you wouldn't want to do to strangers, are people are doing it most to the ones they love the most. It's absolutely upside down and backwards. But the reason why I say they're the biggest contributors is because it's not just them, it's the products of them, their beliefs, their behaviors, their influence and effect that they have on the rest of the world around them. The people, the laws, the policies, the values, and the decided morals. The pressure that they put onto society. And God, there's so many details that one could get into on this topic. We'll just keep it broad for now. It's having that awareness of sin, and then also I think that a part of it is if you're spiritual and you really know where to look, you're looking at things not from a punishment perspective, but a sort of a learning perspective, that bad things in our lives are there to teach us. We're there to learn from our experiences and our pains and our everything. Improving one's behavior and scrutinizing your actions and your energy so that you're putting out high vibrating energy into the world. Those are the people that are making the world a better place. They're making it more lovable, more livable, more enjoyable. It's the people that think not that they can do whatever they want all day, but basically that whatever ends up happening today, it'll be fine because I'm going to say I'm sorry before I go to bed tonight. And that's it. That's as far as they think about it. Till the next day. So you can see how that could breed some very ugly behavior. Just an observation. That doesn't mean that you should ever stop spreading your light. I guess what would be more appropriate to say was that it's unhealthy behavior, obviously. Sometimes it's pathological It can become pathological. To have pathological people who are divinely inspired to be the world's moral police through a cosmic divine inspiration of self-exalted behavior. You can't break through to them because they are the only ones who can see the truth. They are the keepers of the truth. Like, they hold the only true doctrine. So anyone contrary to them is just wrong. So they don't even have to question it. They don't have to question themselves. As long as two or more are gathered, there's a congregation of them. And as long as the congregation goes along with them, they got a club. So how do you break through to people like that? It's a strange thing to witness the dualities in this world so handily as I have recently. But it's funny how being, religious and Christian and stuff is, you have to have faith, right? That's the key to the whole thing, is believing in faith and stuff, right? That's a lot of times like the hardest part. At least it was the hardest part for me, getting you to believe all of that, the whole story. And yet it's the faith that they can't have in anything that disproves them. So what I mean is that, like, they would have to be disproven, like literally show them physical proof or otherwise, irrefutably, before you would get them to change. And even maybe not even so. You could probably show them to their face and they'd still deny it. Some of them. They wouldn't just switch beliefs from a cleverly worded phrase or something from Richard Dawkins or something like that. You'd have to show them proof of their lie, And even then, they might still deny it. And that I think you know where I'm going with that. If you know, you know. No, that's fucking narcissism. That narcissism 101. That's like number one narcissism. Right there. Is it safe to say that religion, churches, shall we say, or let's just say organized religions, because most of them are full of shit. We know that. But we could say that the organized religions are inherently, fundamentally narcissistic. How else do they fall on that spectrum, I wonder? I might have to ponder on this one. That's a trait, I think. I don't know if I've ever heard religion or really anything to that nature be described as narcissistic, but that is a very narcissistic trait to have. That was actually two things. That wasn't just perpetuating the lie and denying. That's also superiority. That's like, putting themselves above everyone else. Claiming superiority. That's two. Okay, there's a whole article on it. Oh, wow. Okay, 3 years ago. Wow, I'm kind of late to the party on this one, but see what they say. Well, here's the AI overview. Well, I asked, how is religious people narcissistic? I was going to say, how is religion narcissistic, but I changed it to religious after I typed in religion, so like it's worded bad, but so how is religious people narcissistic? It says some people are narcissistic. Of course, it's going to be general, but by using religion to manipulate others, gain power, and appear morally superior. This behavior, known as religious narcissism or spiritual narcissism, involves using faith as a tool for control, hiding true motives behind devout facade, and seeking admiration for their perceived spiritual status. They often lack empathy, twist religious texts to justify their actions, and may shame or gaslight others in their community. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Like, if they don't feel you're suffering enough for your sins, they'll make you suffer. Like, they'll try to make you feel bad for doing what you're doing, or they make you suffer if they don't feel like you're suffering enough. Okay. Using faith for control. Oh, characteristics of religious narcissism. Here we go. Using faith for control. A religious narcissist may use their beliefs to manipulate, shame, or control others within their religious community. Was I not just saying that? Bam. Creating a facade of superiority. They present a public image of being more devout or spiritually enlightened than others, but it's a mask for their desire for power and admiration. Now, these are all lack of empathy. They often disregard the feelings and struggles of others, viewing their own perspective as the only valid one. Does this mean that what I think it means? Twisting scripture. Religious texts are used to justify their controlling behavior, rather than being followed for their core messages of humility and compassion. And oftentimes, they will quote a religious law that they themselves are not abiding. That's from experience. Demanding praise. They seek validation for their actions, and they may feel entitled to special treatment or praise for their religious observance. That sounds like entitlement. Resistance. Now, mind you, this isn't an attack. This is on Google. This is just a search. I told you what I typed in. This is the list. Resistance to feedback. They are often quick to judge and resist any feedback or questioning of their beliefs or actions. Focus on rules over people. They may rigidly adhere to rules without considering individual complexities or nuances, and fail to show acceptance for those with different lifestyles or beliefs. Because although their beliefs are wrong, right? Focus on rules over people. I mean, that sounds like... is that on the spectrum of fascism? Oh, impact on others and communities. Religious narcissism can lead to toxic dynamics within faith communities, causing division and hindering spiritual growth. I feel like that's just a repeat. Those under influence of religious... let me back. Those under the influence of a religious narcissist may be harmed, but might be hesitant to question the abuser due to manipulation and shame. It is important to recognize these behaviors and seek support outside of the organization to heal from any abuse. It's the weirdest thing too, because religion separates you from God. It perpetuates separation from self. It's I'm a separate entity from this God. We're not one. That's what they believe. So they preach separation. They make you feel separate and small and individual and everything. That's where you're at. So when I say that, they have a superiority complex. And the thing with that, I don't know if I can say this. Okay, here's an interesting one that kind of goes along the lines of what we were saying. Which types of cultures have higher levels of narcissism? Okay, I don't know why it said that. Narcissism scores are higher in an individualistic cultures compared with more collectivistic cultures. So, like I was saying with the separation, the individual, and there, it's just backed it up. What are the 3 C's of a narcissist? Charming, charismatic, and confident. Okay, so really, without broadening the term and just coming out and calling all religious people narcissists, they actually have a term for religious narcissism. So that way, if you are religious and you get accused of narcissism, you can deny that, those 2 categories aren't inherently one and the same. But I argue that that would be more correct than not. So here's where I open it up. What are your thoughts on religious narcissism? Do you have some that you know? What are your experiences with them? My whole family is heavily, the one side is heavily religious, and I've seen both sides of the coin there, and not the practicing part of it, like the actual believing and thinking you're superior and stuff. That maybe when I was a kid, because we were taught that, taught that our religion is, the only correct one, so you automatically are going to think you're smarter than everyone else just by virtue of that. But not that I went around thinking I was smarter than everyone else, but smarter than other religions, you know what I mean? So it's like that in itself is like a narcissistic thing. But I see it's out there, and this might not be the first video on the subject. Maybe I should do some research before I go and start talking about stuff. But hey, this is my unique perspective on it. So, what's yours?